Welcome to MMA Oddsbreaker once again. This week we get to talk to Brad Travers, who I actually got to know when we were down there shooting Fight Master for Bellator. Unfortunately, he was on the wrong team, being over there in Jackson's, that garbage coach that he is. Couture's just better, just how it works. First, how was the experience in the house for you guys? I mean, you lived, ate, trained, slept, showered, used the bathroom literally 25 feet from where you were the entire 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, the term house is used pretty loosely. I mean, you were there. It was a warehouse. It was not a house of any kind. All four gyms, the cage we fought in, our dining commons, our dormitory was one building. There was no house.
Well,
So,
it's a warehouse. It's got house in the word.
yeah, there somewhere. But yeah, it was designed for Mardi Gras folks, not housing fighters.
The editing of the show. Show's over. It's done. Obviously, Joe Riggs got hurt. He couldn't fight Brunzulis in the finals. They're waiting for that match still to happen. The editing in the house. Were you pleased with the way they edited you to look as the progression of the season went through?
As long as they skewed it where they thought you were relevant, meaning while you were in the tournament, you were relevant. So while I was on camera, I thought they treated me really well. It was just as soon as I lost to Lozano, that the way they cut the show is that people just didn't exist anymore. I mean, they just cut the crap out of everything.
And it's tough because I knew there's a lot of stuff that we did at Team Couture's, just in our training sessions with the other guys already out of the house that were trying to look. This is the mistake you made when you lost. Let's work on this mistake right now. Even though we have these other guys still in the tournament, did Jackson's camp do that as well? Was he working with you tremendously after that loss to Chris Lozano?
Absolutely. I know it happened at every camp because we talked about it. We didn't stop training when we were done, and as guys left out, it became a closer brotherhood between everybody because who cares? We're all there getting better, People were sparring on our own and doing all that stuff with people from other teams just because we were still there, And I like I said, the editing was weird. And honestly, no other show has ever had four coaches. So they had to put time on all four of those coaches, and those are four really great coaches. So, I mean, just finding time to put everyone on camera was super hard with that format.
And they didn't really edit it that way, but Greg Jackson was hardly there. He had so much other responsibilities he had to do. He was there for fight night, he was there for weigh-in, but he wasn't there like the entire time. Paige and Villasenor, Demasio Page and Joey Villasenor was two guys who were there all the time. They were there the entire time. Couture's camp, Randy had one obligation the entire 6 weeks for like 2 or 3 days. Other than that, he was there the entire 6 weeks. We all were. Do you think if Greg Jackson was there the entire time, it would have made a difference on the team? I mean, obviously Joe Riggs is on that team. He made the finals. But do you think it would have made a difference on the rest of the team?
There's no way not to say that spending more time with Greg Jackson wouldn't have made you better. So, I mean, if that's the question, absolutely. The more time I could have spent with Greg, the better I would have been. I don't think that he didn't really leave until after my fight with Lozano had happened.
Okay.
That's when he went completely absentee. But really, it would be the same with any of the coaches there. The more time you spend with them, the better. So, yeah, I absolutely believe that it would have been better for the team if Greg was there more.
Okay, well, let's move on to this next fight. You got a fight coming up in Bellator. You're fighting Jon Carson, left-hander, 10-6. If you look, somebody just stops and looks at your record. They're like, "What the hell happened to Bryan? Where's he been? Where have you been doing?" Because technically, your last fight was your loss to Carlos Prater in Strikeforce Challengers 14, and that was back in February of 2011. So everyone's looking at it like, "What the hell have you been doing? What's been going on?" Obviously, you're on the show for Fight Master, but what else were you on? What else were you doing? That's still a long layoff, even with those two things going on.
Yeah, there was a real long layoff where I actually broke my skull. It was one of those things where right at the end of sparring, we were slow sparring at the end, and I touched the kid with the right hand, and he's a Muay Thai guy. His left foot came up, and the knuckle of his big toe caught inside my orbital right here, and it was too high to technically be a nose break, so I had to have a closed reduction done of my skull, and was a really long layoff. And that's the main thing. There was a falling out at American Kickboxing Academy where Dave Camarillo left.
Mm-hmm.
I at the same time, my teammate Josh Koscheck, he decided to leave. I came back to Bakersfield, and now I train at Dethrone with Josh, getting ready for this fight that's coming up right now.
How good has Josh gotten since he left AKA? Because he didn't seem to really, even the whole time he was up there in the Star and getting the Ferraris and all the chicks wanted to be with him, the whole bit, he still didn't really seem to fit in up there, even when there was harmony. And then when it became discord and Camarillo wanted to leave and Josh was like, look, I'm out too, he seems from a personality standpoint to be much better. More of that kid I knew in college that was that great wrestler. Do you kind of get that same feeling now that you're down there with him?
He truly feeds on that team mentality like a lot of elite wrestlers do. And like me and him had a rapport from AKA. Now we have Chris Honeycutt, national champion Edinburgh. John Salter, UFC veteran, big southpaw. Like he's putting together a really great camp of guys who all want to work. We're all workhorses. We're not the guys who go, oh, we're tired, so maybe we should take a day off. It's, oh, man, I don't feel like training today. I should really train today, you know? Yeah. And he's putting together a camp. He's got really great coaches. Of course, Crazy Bob Cook will always have a hand in anything that Josh Koscheck's doing. Crazy Bob's an amazing coach, amazing guy. He's always down there with us. You know, so it's I think he's better off being at Dethrone. I think I'm better off being at Dethrone, where guys like me fit in a little bit more.
How far is it? Because doesn't Josh live in Fresno? How far is Bakersfield to Fresno?
I live at Josh's house during training camp.
Oh, okay.
I only come home for the weekend, so okay, I live at Josh.
And is that one of those deals where he's also a big brother? Is he also a coach as well? So he's on you about your diet, about your sleep patterns, about your gaming patterns, about everything.
The diet I have the nutritional aspects and scientific aspects I'm really, really keen on myself. Okay. Josh would be the first person, and people say he's him being mean, but it's not. If he sees you messing up, he puts you in your place. Whether it be verbally or the next round he spars with you. He will show you what you're doing wrong. And I learn faster that way, so that works great for me. Not to mention, you say big brother, and I'm a 55-pounder, you know. Everyone at that gym's pretty large. When I actually tangle with a 55-pounder, they just feel weak, small, and scrawny. Why? Because my 3 sparring partners are 70s and 85s, and, well, it's national champion level wrestlers. I mean, so, yeah, I really love being at Dethrone. It's a great fit for me, and the fact that, you know, there's nothing to bug me there. My life is in Bakersfield, but when during training camp, Monday through Thursday afternoon, I live with Josh Koscheck. There's nothing that can mess with me. I just eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep, train, eat, sleep, train 3 times a day.
All right, let's talk about these weak, smaller opponents. This Jon Carson coming up. His record's not great. He's not stellar. The one advantage he has is that he's a left-hander. He's a true left-hander, fights southpaw. You've got a left-handed wrestler sitting in your room that you work out with every day that's 85-pounder, if I'm correct. And so he's a lot bigger, but when you get with a guy that's a 55-pounder, he's going to be a little bit quicker. What does Jon really bring to the fight that you really have to watch out for, that folks at home don't really know about him?
He's one of those journeymen who's not terrific at anything, but he's not bad at anything either. You know what I mean? What he watches out, he has one sneaky TKO on his record where he just snuck that laser point, and they all do.
Yeah.
Journeyman lefties always have that 1 or 2 TKOs where they put that left hand right on the button. Now, I'm not known for being chinny, but everyone's got a button. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to it, I think it's my coaches. I fought lefties before, and I've KO'd or TKO'd both of them. There's a template set that your coaches have to have in your mind for beating a lefty. Now, it's easy for a lefty because they always fight righty. You want to mess with a lefty, put him against a lefty.
Yeah.
But there's a template. There's a set rule. There's set rules you need to follow to beat a lefty. So that's your job for that camp, is your coach, your mitters, your sparring partners. Everyone needs to put those certain specific 2 or 3 little rules that you're supposed to do when you fight a lefty. They have to be ingrained in your head, and that's what we've been doing for 2 months.
All right, how has Bellator been treating you since the show? You're on this card. Are they still treating you the right way? Are they still taking care of you as an athlete? Like, what's been going on from the business standpoint of Bellator?
From the business standpoint, I'm happy to be working. The way the landscape of MMA is right now, I'm happy to have a contract with a company where I send an email, it gets answered, and when I make a phone call, it gets sent back. Other than that, there's a lot of people who and there were nameless, but even from the show, we were on national television. who don't have contracts with Bellator right now. You know, and that sucks.
Yeah, they're hurting, and it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in right now, to be in that mid-level of fighting where you're about to break into that upper level, but you're still not quite there, and no one's giving you contracts, no one's giving you phone calls. You're one of the lucky guys. Do you think that luck was because of how you acted on the show? You're a workhorse on the show. You act like a gentleman the entire time that you're on camera. There wasn't any weird antics out of you. When you are training, you're training with Josh Koscheck. Do you think that helped Bellator to go, look, here's a contract, we want you on to fight for us as quick as possible?
I think that helped a lot. I also think that I lost a razor thin decision to a guy who was technically the number 60 ranked welterweight in the world, and I'm not a welterweight. I didn't go to the show saying, yeah, I'm a welterweight. I went to the show saying, a welterweight show is better for me because making 55s every other week would suck. Yeah. I'm a big 55 pounder. I'm not a big welterweight by any means. I fought Artenis Young to get onto the show, who was the biggest cat in the whole show. That was not fun for me. That kid had never made 70 before in his entire career. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that showing them what I did made them curious as to what I would do against people in my own weight class.
Okay, final. I pretty much know because you're on his team, but final question before we let you out of here. Riggs or Bronzoulis, who do you think wins the finale, and how's it going to go down?
Riggs if he stays off his back.
I like it. Bryan, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate it. Next time you see Josh, tell him I said hey, and tell him to quit being a stranger. You can call every now and again.
All right, buddy.
Take care, bud.
Thank you.